The Pool by HD. Are you alive? I touch you. You quiver like a sea fish. I cover you with my net. What are you, banded one? This poem is written by Hilda Doolittle, who used to call herself HD. She's an American poet that was born in 1886 in Pennsylvania. She died in 1961 after an absolutely incredible life with a long legacy. Hilda Doolittle moved to London in 1911 and became friends with a lot of poets and thinkers of the time, which definitely shaped the way that she approached her voice, her writing, and the message that she wanted to share with the world. One of her closest friends was Ezra Pound, who was one of the forerunners of Imagism, which is a style of poetry that Hilda Doolittle was incredibly good at, as you may have noticed with the poem, The Pool. She's known as a poet, novelist, and memoirist. She is known for moving in great circles and becoming very acquainted with psychoanalysis later in her life as she befriended Sigmund Freud. And she is known for her work in Imagism. I've mentioned Imagism quite a few times, and you've probably wondered what it actually is. The word image is at the center of Imagism. And the point of Imagism is to create poetry which sought the clarity of expression through the use of precise images. This sounds incredibly simple to just look at a single thing and describe it in perfect words so that it is so concise the viewer or reader of the poem will see exactly what it is that you are sharing with them. Here's another example of an Imagist poem by Ezra Pound. In a station of the metro, the apparition of these faces in the crowd, petals on a wet black bough, and that's it. Imagism sought to create that image of a moment in as few words as possible, and it was hugely popular in the 20th century in England and America. But you couldn't just willy nilly decide to create Imagist poetry. No, they were the commandments of Imagism that were set up by Ezra Pound. The first thing was that it had to be a direct treatment of the thing, whether it was subjective or objective. So, were you having a personal response to it, or you were just giving a general view of what could be seen? The second commandment was to use no word does that I'm so sorry. Use no word that does not contribute to the presentation. So, if the word is not necessary, why is it there? And lastly, in terms of rhythm, don't write in regular meter, which is like the beating of a metronome, but an irregular one so that it becomes like music. To summarize these three commandments is simple: be direct, stick to the point, and write in free verse. Let us look at the pool again. Are you alive? I touch you. You quiver like a sea fish. I cover you with my net. What are you, banded one? This poem works as imagism because it does not rhyme. There's no regular meter, and there's no superfluous phrases or words. Every word has been specifically chosen by the poet for a reason. And this is a clear, strong image. You can imagine this pool, this sea fish like creature, and this person reaching to touch it, holding a net, covering this image with the net, but it still escapes her and she does not know what it is. What is incredible about this is that even though it is only 5 lines and it is a clear, strong image, you have an intellectual and emotional response to what you are seeing. Let's break it down a little bit more. The setting is a pool. But because Hilda Doolittle has used her words so clearly, we know that it's probably a rock pool because she has a net with her. I mean, you're not really going to take a net to a swimming pool. We know that there is something in the pool because she is speaking to it. She's asking, "Are you alive? What are you?" But what's interesting is that she never answers this question directly for us. We still have an element of mystery around what it is in this pool that she is looking at. And this is an example of modernist poetry where we are actually left with more questions than we are given answers. So, what is it? It's not a fish because of the use of the simile that it is like a sea fish. It quivers, it seems to be alive, so there is movement, but this is water. So, whatever it will ripple and move if we are looking at it through the water. Because of this, we can interpret this poem as the poet looking at her reflection in the water. She reaches out to touch it. She tries to catch it, but because it is just a reflection, she cannot actually achieve this. This entire poem is then about self discovery. She sees a reflection of herself, but does not truly know what it is. She does not truly know what its purpose is. Is it truly living? Is it just there? So it's this entire questioning of who she is and her purpose in life in these five very simple lines. This could be a journey of truth. How do we define ourselves? It's a difficult journey, but one that we go through every day as we question these things. We look at who we are, we look at our actions, and we define ourselves through these reflections of ourself. Because Hilda Doolittle never actually gives us an answer of what she is seeing, this could be an idea that we may never truly discover who we truly are, even though we are reaching out to try and touch it, to try and cover it. This may actually not be something that is achievable. This is 5 lines of poetry that moves us to question something that the poet has experienced. And because we are human and poetry is about an emotional connection, it forces us to question something within ourselves as well. What is our reflection? What is it that we see and try to capture? Are we truly alive? Or are we merely reflecting an idea of living? Note how capturing a single image in a moment can evoke all of these questions and feelings. And that is the success of Imagism. Look, I'm not saying that Imagism is easy to write or understand, but we appreciate the incredible beauty that it has within it as we stand by the pool and remember Hilda Doolittle.